This Qatar Grand Prix DFS Picks 2025 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $100 in bonus bets when you sign up with our promo code RACESGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. As we draw ever nearer to Thanksgiving, it is the day before everybody, well, maybe not everybody, but everybody that I know at least, stuff themselves full of turkey, sits in front of the couch all day, watches football, and I cannot think of a more gluttonous yet American holiday than Thanksgiving, Cody, and I love it.
I am here for it, Rod. I'm not one to pass up on food much, but happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there who celebrates. I'm thankful we got an F1 race this week. I'm thankful NASCAR is just around the corner. The court trial, that's the word I was looking for. Trial starts next week for 2311 and NASCAR, so that might make some exciting watching. We should we need prop bets on that. Ooh. If anybody's listening, we would take it. But happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Excited to stuff my face with a lot of food tomorrow. Maybe our friends at Novig can start running some. We can put those on the market, right, and exchange some bets on the trial of NASCAR in 2311. I like it, Rod. Yeah. Well, and we'll talk plenty more about all of that. Obviously, we're going to have one more episode this week. We'll put it out on Friday. Just a quick spoiler alert that we are going to tape that tonight. We're going to release it on Friday, and we are going to enjoy our Thanksgiving weekend. But plenty of NASCAR news to talk about, plenty of stuff to get caught up on. There's so much news, Cody. Yeah, especially just over the last couple of weeks with the lower series. We're finding out a lot of answers with silly season stuff. Obviously not too much driver change stuff in the Cup Series, but we'll still cover what's there. But tons and tons of silly season stuff and stuff to cover. So, looking forward to talking NASCAR. It's always fun. It is always fun, but talking about F1 has become even more fun for us in this off season as we are coming back today to talk to you about the Qatar Grand Prix. But from the DFS standpoint, if you want all of our betting picks, go back to yesterday's episode and check that out where we break down all of our betting picks for this race. But it is, of course, the ever closer to the end of the season for Formula One, their Drivers' Championship. The penultimate race, I do believe. Right? Ooh, look at you, fancy word counter. It's the penultimate race, the second to last race of the season. The Drivers' Championship still up in the air. It got closer after last week's shenanigans on the track, and so there's a lot to drive for this weekend. Yeah, absolutely. We talked about it yesterday, but 24 points between Lando Norris has the lead, Max, Oscar, 24 points behind him. Sprint weekend, you got those extra 8 points available out there. I think they still said there's 50-some points on the table between the two race weekends, so plenty of opportunity, especially if there's a slip-up or a disqualification or any of the above, right? So, we're in for a nice points battle thanks to the stewards, Rod. So shout out to them for keeping it close for us. Gotta keep the drama built, right? I do like the stewards. Rod Stewart, Tony Stewart, Jimmy Stewart. Yeah, there's a lot of stewards out there that I'm thankful for this weekend as well. All right, dad jokes complete. Let me tell you. As we get near to the holidays, that there's time for you to gear up for the holidays at the SGPN merch store. Perfect gift
for that DGen in your life. Everything in the store is 25% off when you use the promo code HOLIDAY. We talked about this yesterday, but we're still going to push it. The race terrorists or the race officials are terrorist shirts. Go buy that. Get 25% off. Wear it at your local short track, dirt track, or wherever you just want to wear it at. It's a good conversational starter, and have yourself some fun. There's also some good stuff out here that's shown on the graphic, right? The Santa over 2.5 hose. I love this shirt for more than one reason, but I'm taking the over on the 2.5 hose just like that. And yeah, just get yourself some fun stuff, right? It's all out there. It's all there for you at the merch store. Use that promo code HOLIDAY. Get 25% off.
Well, it is ho, 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 right? So, I mean, taking the over on the hose seems to be the logical way to go, Rod.
So we're at Qatar. And absolutely love it. No. Yeah. So for DFS purposes, right, we are at Qatar. It is the Lusail International Circuit. We are set for 57 laps around this track that is just over 3 miles long. And again, as we talk through DFS strategies for Formula One, if you are brand new to this and if you're checking this out for the first time and you're used to NASCAR, right, where the points kind of get up there and there's a lot of them to be had through through laps led, through fastest laps, through point differential or place differential. Don't expect that in Formula One. In fact, there are times where you may not get any points out of a particular driver because it works a little differently. You get points for your finishing position, yes, but you also get points for not as many points for place differential. You have to finish better than like 5 point or 5 grid spots to get points. Finishing better than your teammate gets you some points. That's always good too. But yeah, by and large, Cody, this is not a plentiful point situation for you on a week basis in DFS for F1.
Yeah, some of these guys you're looking, we're browsing through the stats and how many points they've scored, and it's like, man, when you compare this to like NASCAR, which we're so used to, right, or even playing NFL DFS a lot this time of year, it is a lot less points, but that's just how it works over in the F1 area. So, but plenty of points to be had out there. And yeah, hopefully we'll give out some good ones today that'll help you win some money this weekend.
Yes, sir. And it works on the captain basis. So if you've ever played the captain game before, you get a captain that when they score 1.5 times the points. And then, of course, you get 4 drivers on top of that. And you got a constructor to close it out. Still the $50,000 of salary for you to play with. And I tell you what, when you look at some of the upper salaries on these drivers, especially on the captains, you got to get creative.
I think that's where they've really nailed this is you have to get creative. You cannot it is very hard to have more than 1 or 2 of anything. Like if you go with an expensive driver as your captain, it is bargain bin everywhere else. If you go with McLaren, for example, as your constructor, top of the board, they're $4,000 more than anybody else. It's bottom of the barrel everywhere else. Generally, the way I've found most of the time is putting 2 bigger guys just in your normal 4 driver spots and then trying to save money on either end with the captain and the constructor, but not always the winning way, of course. So yeah, they've done a great job of building this game and, for as top heavy as it can be, where we kind of know who's going to be in the top portion of things for the most part, most of the time. It's not easy to build these lineups, which is great. And it makes the game fun, makes it challenging. And that's why we love it. Yeah,
and really, again, if you're brand new to F1, which I'm assuming there are a few of you out there, this is not NASCAR. It's not where everybody you see a shakeup in the top.
Breaking news.
F1
is not NASCAR.
You don't see a huge shakeup. There's only 20 drivers first and foremost, right? So it's not that huge of a thing. But you don't always see that big of a shakeup in the top 10. A lot of the same drivers represent the top 6. So it's from a DFS standpoint, from a betting standpoint, if you know Max Verstappen's going to finish inside of the top 6 every single week, then it doesn't make any sense for the books to give you huge odds for it to happen or DFS to price it down for it. So yeah, I mean, you really have to be kind of a student of the sport or at least listen to good shows like this to get a little edge.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
So, all right. Well then, Cody, I guess as we get down to it, we should probably just start setting up our cards. I feel no further need to explain anything, but time to give out some picks.
Yeah, let's do it. I am going to start with a guy we've both been on this week in the betting episode. We're both going to be on him in this episode as well. But I'm going to start with let's try that again. Rod, I am going to start with Isaac Hadjar. $8,700 for the captain spot, $5,800 if you put him in the driver's spot for the Racing Bulls team over there. They're obviously coming off of a great run last week at the Las Vegas Grand Prix. He goes out and runs really well. 14 points he scored on the day. Generally, on a week-to-week basis, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points, 4 points, 2 points. But he's got some big races, right? The 14, obviously, last week. 10 points back in Italy, 21 points back at the Dutch Grand Prix, 12 points in Spain, 14 at Monaco, 10 in Japan. He's capable of getting some big days. Obviously, part of that is those 5 points beating Liam Lawson, right, who he did beat last week. Got those extra points, so you like that for him. But he's looked really good. 6th place finish last week in Las Vegas, the 8th place finish in Brazil, the 10th place finish in Baku. We talked about him being, like, we both feel pretty secure that he's going to be in the points. You even gave him out as a top 6 finish yesterday. And when we talk about that in the betting aspect, also translates well to the DFS side of things. Finishing in the points is where you get those points for, finishing, I guess is the best way to put it. But you have to finish in the points to get finishing points in DFS. So we think he's going to do that. He's going to score some points there. I do think that Lawson will have a good day as well. I'll take Hadjar in that head-to-head to hopefully get those 5 bonus points. But, I love Isaac Hadjar this week. I think we're both pretty sold on him. So, captain, $8,700. He's definitely a great option there, especially because the way that I'm likely going to play this, I'll talk about my constructor in a few. And I'm going to jam Lando Norris in here if you listen to yesterday's show. But, putting him in the driver's spot is $13,400. So you're going to have to save some money. Hadjar is a guy where you can go farther down the board without going too far. And get a guy at $8,700 to be that captain spot and can still have a decent lineup, getting Lando in there, getting some of these other key pieces in there. So give me Isaac Hadjar, $8,700 for the captain spot, or if you just want to use him in a regular driver spot, $5,800.
Yeah, and going down the line for these guys is where you got to go. I mean, last week it definitely worked out for us, and I'm going to bring up this guy again because it was one of the biggest swings out there, and yet it was the best play out there, especially for the captain spot, because, if you look at who finished at the top of the list, right, obviously Max Verstappen, but he got you 34 points last week. Obviously in a captain spot, you do the math, 1.5, whatever that is, but that still wasn't more than you spend down a little bit for who I'm about to give out, and that was $8,000 was his normal driver spot, about a couple $1,000 more for his captain spot. So yeah, I mean, this is where you find value, right? Because if you're trying to jam the Max Verstappens of the world in there at $20,700, Orlando at $20,100, or even Piastri at $17,100, I mean, you're basically putting, guys like Lance Stroll and Esteban Ocon in your lineup, or even I said Lance Stroll, but Franco Colapinto, like all these guys you're trying to get something out of, right? So it's definitely tough. So what I will say is I'll go back to the well, and I'll give Kimi Antonelli one more time for the captain spot. It worked out so well for us last week. It may not work out quite as well for us this week as far as where he's probably going to start, but boy, last week was a perfect storm for Kimi Antonelli in DFS because he got you 21 points as just the regular driver, right? But he started 17th on the grid, missed out on Q2 even, right? Kimi just swung and missed on qualifying altogether, but ended up finishing in 3rd place overall. Now, granted, it was not 3rd place on the grid, but 3rd place overall. And I'm telling you right now, man, like this kid, just so talented, right? And last week he was $8,000 as a normal driver. Like I said, got you 21 points on the day. This week he's $11,700, and he is the, 6th lowest price driver, or 6th highest price driver on the slate. And I mean, like I said, I just read off Verstappen, I just read off Norris, I just read off Piastri, and there's Russell there at 16.2, there's Leclerc at 15,000, and that's a huge drop-off between Leclerc and Antonelli. And Leclerc, I mean, he's averaging 14.9 fantasy points per race, but I'm telling you, it's just been so difficult for him. He got you -5 points in Brazil a couple of weeks ago, and that was rough to hold. So, Charles Leclerc got you 21 points last week. So did Kimi Antonelli. Got you 21 points at the Mexico Grand Prix, or 24 points rather at Mexico, 21 at Coda, 14th at Singapore, 3 at Azerbaijan, 18 at Italian Grand Prix, none at the Dutch Grand Prix. It's just you're taking a huge chance. Kimi got you 21, 24, 14. Got you 1 at Coda, 11th in Singapore, 13th at Azerbaijan, or 13 points rather. So, he's scoring effectively for you. And at almost a $4,000 discount, if I'm going to get about the same production, I'll take a chance on Kimi again to do well for us.
Yeah, love Kimi again this week. You talked about him in the betting episode yesterday. Completely agree with everything you said there. Completely agree with everything you said here. I've got some more thoughts on the Mercedes camp here in a little bit, so I will reserve those, but love the Kimi Antonelli play.
Me too. Like I said, and if you've listened to this for a half a second, my daughter's in love with Kimi. So if I don't bring up Kimi once a show, I'm not a good dad. So, all right, we got more to talk about on the other side of the break, but I want to take this opportunity to tell you about Novig. We are brought to you by Novig. Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. With Novig, you are getting the best prices possible. How best prices, did you say? Well, how about I don't know, what is this? A soccer bet right now. They got Arsenal and then Bayern Munich. They got Arsenal at -172, but can Bayern steal it in London? +167 seems to think so. So go find all of that. And of course, if you bet on the Crocodile Hunter's son to win on Dancing with the Stars, guess what? They won. He was a heavy favorite, so whatever. There's actually new markets for Thanksgiving as well. How about Thanksgiving rushing leader Derrick Henry +232, Javonte Williams +315, Jahmyr Gibbs +443. Keep in mind, Jahmyr Gibbs up against a very tough defense this week. All that you can find on Novig. Make sure you get over there. It's available in 35 or more states. Download the Novig app and get $50 when you spend $5. Use our promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with Novig. Promo code SGPN. We are about to tell you formally about our friends over at Underdog, because that is what we do, and that is why we're here. Later on, we'll give you all of our favorite picks for this F1 race. But in the meantime, let me tell you that Underdog is your home to play for Pick'em, where you can win up to 5,000 times your entry. Looking right now at the Pro Women's Hockey League. How about Sarah Nurse? Her goal scorers today is set at, her projection is set at a half of a goal. I'm going to take the higher then at 1.36 times your entry. She's already scored a goal this season in her only game. She scored 11 last year. So give me Sarah Nurse higher than a half of a goal in her game tonight. Underdog's got a brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5. Get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with the promo code RACE, SGPN. Love me some PWHL, my friend. Love that. Good stuff. By the way, too, I think it was Rowdy earlier today told me that he took part in some Counter-Strike action on Underdog earlier.
Beautiful.
It just warms my heart to see all of you guys embracing all of these very niche sports. It makes me feel good.
Absolutely. Gotta love it, Rod. You know who warms my heart?
Who could?
It's Oliver Behrman. Absolutely love this kid. He's been a stud this year. So I'm going to take him as my next play here over on the DraftKings, $4,800. If you're going to play him in the regular driver spot, if you do want to play him in the captain spot, $7,200. He's another guy that certainly qualifies for that. If you look back through his points history, he's a guy that's going to deliver you points each and every single week. 4 points last week in Las Vegas, 12th place finish at the end of the day. That's what he gets scored for on DFS side of things, but obviously it turns into a points finish after the disqualifications ahead of him. So we're going to keep that intact for 5 straight points finishes in a row, which you love to see. 8 on the season, and he's got 5 in a row. So that means things have really heated up for him as the season's gone along here. 4 points in Las Vegas, but 14 points in Brazil, 21 points in Mexico. So 2 of the last 3 races been north of the 14-point mark. At $4,800, that will help you out a ton. But even before that, 8, 8, 8, 6, 19. It's all solid good days. A bad one in there with a -3, but 6, 9, 3. I mean, it's been strong days and really been the majority of his season. He's only got any negative points twice on the entire season, 1 goose egg, and that is it from Mr. Behrman. So a guy that's going to deliver you points. He's been pretty solid, been a little bit better than his teammate in Ocon. Again, you're looking for guys that are going to beat their teammates. This is another one I feel fairly comfortable in going into the weekend. he's going to be ahead of his teammate over there in Esteban Ocon. So, Oliver Behrman going to continue to ride this train. He's been another rookie, as like Antonelli, like Hadjar, right? These guys are looking good. These young guys looking good, and it's been running well down the stretch here. So, just going to continue to ride that hot streak. I know we're kind of banging on some of the same names we've talked about last couple of weeks, but there's a good reason for that, right? These are guys to continue to watch, continue to play. Don't jump off the train because he was just short of a points finish on the track this past week. He was still in contention there. And had it not been for that rainy, wet, wacky, wild qualifying session, I think that we would have gotten a little bit more out of him. We saw through the practices, didn't do well in the wet practices, but got a little better as the weekend progressed. Unfortunately, just the craziness of that qualifying session didn't help him, but I expect a good qualifying session this week, and I expect these Haas drivers to do well, including Mr. Oliver Behrman. So give me Oliver Behrman. You can get him at $4,800, $7,200 if you would like to slide him into that captain seat.
Haas has got to feel pretty good about their situation right now. They got Behrman in there that's doing so well, and I think he's got nothing but good things for them in the future. I know they struggled a couple of years ago trying to put together good, solid points finishes. Last year they started to get close, right? Hulkenberg was doing pretty good out there. Let's see, who else was the second driver?
Was it K-Mags last year?
Yeah, Magnussen. Yep. Magnussen and Hulkenberg were doing all right. And yeah, this year I think they've really got it. But you talked about banging on the same drums. I mean, honestly, we have to because sort of the same names.
There's only
the same
20
ones.
drivers in the field.
Yeah,
so
and none of us are going to come on here.
It's just like NASCAR, though. Like, a lot of times, a lot of weeks, we're going to have some of the same kind of names, and each race you're going to look and go for a different guy, right? I mean, I was big on the Pierre Gasly drum the last couple of weeks because the numbers were right, and that worked out pretty good for us. This week they dropped the number; they're kind of catching on, so it's like we're going to shift off him. You maybe shift to different guys in different spots, and these are guys that we're comfortable going with again, based on the price, based on where they're at, and that's what we're doing. So.
Funny you mentioned Gasly, though, because I was just about to bring him up as somebody who I'm not going to responsibly come on here and tell you to play him in DFS. He scored you 4, 7, 8, -2, 1, 6, 8, -1, -1. This is not, I just can't get on here and tell you, load up on Pierre Gasly for DFS, buddy. You're all good. That's not what
he was a fun value play when it came to longer shot points finish because he was capable of it, right? You're getting a good number, but then that's when, the number shrinks, and then it's like, it's not so attractive. The DFS streets, as you mentioned, it's not been very attractive overall. So it's like, that's where you kind of got to walk the line and find the balance. So that's what we're trying to do, at least.
Of course. All right. So speaking of guys that we don't normally talk about a lot, Alexander Albon in that Williams equipment. If you go down the list of fantasy points per race, Alex Albon finds himself right after Lewis Hamilton in terms of overall points per race, fantasy-wise, at 8.1. Lewis Hamilton has 8.8. And then above that, it's Leclerc at 14.9, Russell at 18.6, Piastri at 23, Norris at 23.8, and Verstappen at 24. So of the bigger teams, right, here comes Alex Albon in that Williams as, I guess, the winner without in this instance. And he's only $5,000. Alexander Albon is in that Williams machine. Last week, he got you no points at Las Vegas, which is, here I am telling you to play him, and he got you nothing last week. But I will say that when we start to load down and when we start to think about these $5,000 guys averaging like the 8-point fantasy points per race, it's about as good as you're going to get down there, right? He's got an average finish of 10.9 in 22 races. The week before in Brazil, he got you 9 points. He got you 9 points at Mexico, 8 points at Coda. In fact, the last week was the only time where he did not score you any fantasy points whatsoever. So that was the first time all season. And he's only gotten you negative fantasy points twice this year. That was in back-to-back races at the Spanish Grand Prix and the Canadian Grand Prix. So other than that, he's been in the points. He's been scoring you points. Like I said, 9 in Brazil last week, 9 in Mexico, 8 at Coda, 4 at Singapore, 4 at Azerbaijan, 15th at the Italian Grand Prix, 21 at the Dutch Grand Prix. So he's been able to put together some pretty decent fantasy days for you. And, like we said, when we were talking about the bottom of the barrel salary-wise, it's very difficult to get creative because Colapinto, like I said, $3,000. You got Lance Stroll down there at $3,200. You got Yuki Tsunoda at $3,400. Talk about him in a little bit, too. Bortoletto at $3,600, Lawson at $38. I mean, you could potentially go with Lawson because we feel like there's going to be a points finish in there for him somewhere. But, I mean, -2 points last week at Las Vegas, 12 at Brazil, -3. The consistency for Albon has me wanting to pay the, $1,300, $1,400 more for him than for Lawson. So, yeah, I mean, I'm on the Albon train this week. Hopefully he can beat Sainz and turn in a pretty decent day for us in DFS.
Yeah, no arguments from me again here. I'll completely ride with you on this. Shifting gears over to the constructor side of things. Of course, as you mentioned, you have the captain, you have the 4 drivers, then you have the constructor. Again, just to kind of bring it down to basic terms, if you're newer to this, the constructor would be like the team. So, you get Joe Gibbs Racing or Hendrick Motorsports for NASCAR examples. And in F1, each constructor has 2 drivers for their team, basically, has 2 drivers. There's 10 teams, 20 drivers. That's how the grid works, at least for this year. It'll change a little bit next year. But McLaren's at the top of the board, $14,300. I would love to play them, Rod, and I think that they're going to be the dominant team this weekend. Talked about both of those drivers a ton. Most of my picks were revolving around those 2 drivers yesterday on the betting episode. But I think it's really hard to play them in this spot being at such a high price. So I'm going to take a step down, just one rung to Mercedes, $10,700. So you're saving a lot of money here, right? And that's going to be helpful in building the rest of our lineup. So I'm going to take Mercedes. You get Kimi Antonelli, who you already made the case for, and to get George Russell, who we probably haven't talked about enough. It was just hard to squeeze him in anywhere this week. Again, odds dictate things, right? So, but they have been a solid team each and every week. The last 2 weeks in particular, very good. 43 points last week at Las Vegas, 37 back at Brazil. But had some great days throughout the entire season. Singapore with 48 points, even 37 at Baku. Go back to Canada. They had 57.4 there. I think that, yes, I do think that it's going to be a McLaren day. I think that Max Verstappen is going to be up there as well. Breaking news, shocking, right? But the next best 2 drivers are going to be George Verstappen and Kimi Hamilton. We'll just combine everybody's names. The next best drivers are going to be George Russell and Kimi Antonelli, of course. So I think that they both have the opportunity to get on the podium. I think they're going to be up there battling for it. You can rely on both of these guys to get you good, solid finishes. We saw it last week with the Antonelli situation, right? Things did not go good in Q1. He gets bounced early. They made the best of it. They sat down overnight, came up with a plan. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to run this tire early. They got the luck of the caution, right? That early safety car really helped them out. They come in, switch the tires. Then he goes out there and drives like he's been doing it for 50 years and saves the tires to everybody's complete and utter astonishment all the way to the end of the race and has a good day with it. So you have a solid team that knows what they're doing. You have 2 solid drivers who have been great. Russell's been one of the most, if not the most consistent driver all season long. Antonelli is really on fire here lately. Perfect combination. I will spend up, not quite to McLaren levels this week, but give me Mercedes to be the constructor, $10,700.
I want to see anybody who ends up winning with McLaren in the constructor and a higher price drive. I mean, I have yet to been able to build that kind of a lineup, but I must not be that good.
You really have to hit on the super cheap, like multiple super cheap guys. That's like, because if you're playing that, you're essentially playing the guys at the very bottom, right? So you're not getting a Hadjar, you're getting a Colapinto, a Stroll, a Tsunoda, and those guys can all have good days, right? We've seen that, and it's possible. But it handcuffs your salary so much. And as you play around building these, and again, as we talk about this, on Wednesday afternoon, we don't have all the full information. We don't know where people are starting. We don't know what they look like in practice. So those things will adjust, just like when we talk NASCAR DFS. But it hamstrings you so much where you really, really got to find it perfect there. Whereas if you can kind of play with the money a little bit more, it gives you a little bit of leeway for these guys to just have the solid days you're kind of expecting. So again, all building pieces. You don't have to just submit. You're not going to be able to submit this because we're about to give out 2 constructors. We've given out multiple captains, so it wouldn't be possible. But good building blocks and pieces to use along the way as you build your lineups.
Yeah, and just for reference, right? If you put Lando Norris in the captain spot and McLaren in the constructor spot, you only have $15,600 left, which is an average of $3,900 per driver, which you would have to put in Colapinto, you would have to put in Stroll and Tsunoda. Well, you got $6,000 left on top of that. So then you could put in Isaac
you have
Hadjar.
some wiggle room, but you've got 3 of the cheapest guys in there. So it's possible, but not fully there. I do have a lineup I'll share after you give your pick here, Rod, that I built using essentially the picks that we've given out plus Lando Norris because, well, he's Lando Norris. But
he is Lando Norris. All right, well, then I'm going to give out Red Bull as the constructor. This is one where you can get a little sneaky. This is a GPP play. Last week, they got you 35 points at Las Vegas, obviously because of Max Verstappen leading.
Wow, Max Verstappen got you 35 points.
Well, 100%. He led 50 laps and had the fastest lap on that one as well. So, I mean, you're hoping that Yuki Tsunoda pulls his weight, which I'm not highly, I'm not. Look, even if
that last week, Rod.
It's true. It's true. But look, it's okay because, look, 35 points, still not bad for a constructor, given that unless you put McLaren in there. McLaren was probably twice as much or whatever it was, but it was definitely more expensive. And, Red Bull is at $9,500 for the constructor, whereas McLaren is $14,300, Mercedes is $10,700. Ferrari, well, obviously not going to do Ferrari because poor Lewis can't get it done.
Yeah, looking at McLaren last week, though, I mean, because DFS results go on at the flag, right? So they get this, was it second and third that they finished, or was it third? Was it third and fourth? Was Russell second? I can't remember. Either way, wherever they finished, they only scored you 37 points last week at Vegas because Lando didn't lead a bunch of laps despite starting on the pole right there. There wasn't a ton of, points out. Again, you have to lead all the laps. You have to have a perfect day if you're going to be the most expensive team like that, which I'm more likely to do this week. But again, still too hard to play.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. That's got to hit, right? You've got to have the team that leads the most laps. You have to have the team that does that, and it doesn't matter if both of you finish if not one of you wins. So, yeah, and I think I gave out Max earlier today or earlier in the betting episode just because I feel like this is a Max week. It's got to be a Max week because Max has got to stay in touch with the Drivers' Championship.
Really got to max out this week. Right?
Get out your pen and paper because we're about to go over this. See, look at our dad jokes just don't stop. This is what happens.
Well, we got to get fresh for family tomorrow. I mean, come on.
Right? Look, I'm just sharpening up my dad jokes for tomorrow when all the kids can cringe. All right, get out your pen and paper. We're going to go over our 6-7 drivers that we're giving you for this DFS purposes. Cody started you out with Isaac Hadjar at $8,700 in the captain spot, $5,800 if you want to just throw him in there normally. I said Kimi Antonelli, just put him in the captain spot. Don't look back. $11,700. Cody gave you Ollie Behrman at $4,800 for his driver, $72 if you want to put him in the captain spot. I said Alex Albon at $5,000 would be my value driver, I guess, if we're going there. Cody gave you Mercedes as the instructor of choice at $10,700. Give me Red Bull as the constructor for this at $9,500 rather for this slate. All right, Cody, that'll do it.
Love it. I did.
Yeah.
I did toss in a quick lineup using some of these. So I went with Behrman at the captain to save a little bit of money, so $7,200. Albon in there, Antonelli just in a driver's spot. Hadjar, Lando Norris, I added him, and of course, reminder I talked about it last week. If he starts in the top 5, he's a playable. If he doesn't start in the top 5, he's not been playable most of the season. So there's your reminder on that. And then Mercedes in the captain's or constructor spot. So good, solid thing. You got drivers from all different teams, which, for a max points day, that's what you would like to get, right? Is 5 different drivers from 5 different teams, because if they all beat their teammate, then that's an extra 25 plus the captain's going to get 7.5. So 27.5 points that are out there for you to get. So it's again, early in the week. We don't know all the starting spots, everything around it, but using a lot of those pieces and maneuvering them in certain ways, build a pretty solid lineup without just cramming in cheap guys. And I think that's a good base to start with.
It is I'd like that lineup. I may steal that one from you and play it somewhere else where you're not playing it, so we don't try to double up on it. But
wow, I tied with this other guy to win this contest. Oh, it's Rod.
Oh, it's me. Oh, dang. Well, all right, fine. We split the money, and then we just have fun, and we invest it right back into the show.
Right.
All right. We have our Underdog fantasy picks on the way for you, but first, allow me to tell you about our friends over at Rhythm. Rhythm, they're crushing it in college football, NFL, and they just added the NBA. So Rhythm is giving away weekly cash prizes just for tracking your bets in the app. Track 5 bets of the same type from any model you build. You can win $1,000. You love that one? Thanksgiving, we just talked about it. NFL has 3 games on the slate. One of those is the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Dallas Cowboys. How about Marquise Brown? Rhythm is giving us over 1.5 receptions at -160 as their play, as their prediction, as something you should go after. I know Hollywood Brown only caught 1 pass for 10 yards in the last game out against the Colts, but before that he had 4 catches on 4 targets for 40 yards against Denver, 2 catches against Buffalo, 2 catches against Vegas, 4 against the Lions, 4. So he's only gone under this number in 3 total games so far, or actually 2 total games so far this season in the games that he's played in. So Hollywood Brown over a reception and a half on the day is the prediction for Rhythm. Go get that. Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off of your first month. Download Rhythm and use the promo code SGPN25. Eating turkey, watching Hollywood Brown catch passes. I can think of no better way to spend the day.
Well, I mean, I think we could all root for the Chiefs to lose, but we know they're not going to, Rod, so might as well make money betting on them, and that makes it a lot better.
Indeed. All right, let's move on to the Underdog fantasy plays for this race. Very simple. Underdog gives you finishing projections for each driver. You just have to pick whether or not they finish better than or worse than that projection. And in some cases, you only have the opportunity to pick the better than. So, make sure you pay attention to that. And then, of course, they're actually giving you the markets for first driver to retire as well if you want to dabble on those. I'm not taking that action because I don't know that we're going to get too many retirements this week.
Yeah, it is a fun way, like, especially if you're building, again, multiple Underdog things, a fun way to help increase that multiplier quite quickly, right, is by tossing in the first retirement or things like that. So you love to see it. All right, Rod, we're going to kick it off. I'm going to take an easy one here. Lando Norris better than 2.5. A lot of weeks we've come in and he's been better than 1.5. He has to win in order to hit it. But this week he just has to finish top 2. So if it's a max week, fine. If it's an Oscar week, fine. Lando's going to be the next best guy. I'm convinced of that. Again, going back to the betting show yesterday, I think that Lando's going to win this race. I think he's going to be the best car. I think that he's going to be on the best team. And that's why there's no sweat with this. I'm taking it. And you look back through the results, and, well, it's kind of been the story here lately. Las Vegas last week, 19th place. No, just kidding. He finished in second place, Rod, before he finished in 19th officially on the scoreboard later on. Again, check the Underdog rules as that goes. But hopefully we don't have more disqualifications this week, obviously. He won at Brazil. He won at Mexico City. He was second at the United States in COTA. And then it was a rough stretch of 3rd and 7th. Oh, my goodness, horrible days for him. But second place before that, things didn't go well at the Dutch Grand Prix with an early retirement, but second in Belgium, first in Hungary, first in British Grand Prix. Tough day in Canada. They do pop up, right? And he got it out of the way last week, technically, on paper. So we're going to count that because Monaco was first. Spanish Grand Prix was second. The Austrian Grand Prix was first. The Italian Grand Prix before that, the second place. Like, it has been a season full of first and second place finishes for Lando Norris. 7 wins on the year. He's been up front all year long. I think he's going to be up front again this week. Love that Underdog's giving us that cushion of, sometimes it's just 1.5 on a guy, and it's like they either win or not. And you saw it last week at Vegas. He was, started on the pole. Max got that jump on him early, and then he just stayed with him all day and was right there. And I don't remember. Now I'm questioning myself. I don't remember if he finished second or third. Did Russell finish second? No, it was Lando because he had the issues at the end and still held on to second place miraculously. Again, didn't matter. But overall, Max got the jump on him, went out, led all the laps, won the race, all that stuff. But you still would have hit this. Give me Lando Norris better than 2.5.
Yeah, and again, like you said, and initially what I was thinking as soon as you said that, I am surprised that they did not give us 1.5 on this one because a lot of times whether it's Max, whether it's Lando, all you get is, are they going to win this race, essentially? And the 1.5 projection is where it sits. So I love the second place cushion. Yeah, give that to me because you're right. If it's going to be Max, it's going to be Max. If it's going to be Lando, it's going to be Lando. And I think Because those two guys, obviously, you don't think I know McLaren is not going to let Lando go out there and lay an egg this week. It's just not going to happen. They're gearing up to revenge tour from last week in Las Vegas. So, yeah, they're going to be dangerous this week. And, of course, if you check out our Discord, Preston's already laid out everything about McLaren and why they're going to be fast this week. So, absolutely love this one. And I love that you already put one in there for me in the doc. You know me too well, Cody.
I loved this one, Rod, and I was like, well, I already talked about this guy on the DFS side of things. I know Rod will like this one, so I'm going to put it in there in Rod's side of things with a little note that says, this is my gift to you. Happy Thanksgiving. If you don't want it, I'll fucking take it back because I would love to have it.
I am thankful for a co-host that knows my
One of those
patterns.
gifts you buy and you're like, fuck, I don't... Do I want to gift this? I kind of want this myself. Maybe I'll just keep it. I don't know.
I'm glad you didn't keep it because I most certainly do like this one as well. They're giving us Isaac Hadjar 10.5 as a projection for his finishing position. And I mean, you got to take the better then on this one. I understand that Isaac Hadjar has not always finished inside of the points this season as most drivers have. He did finish in the points last week, obviously in Las Vegas. He finished 8th place in Brazil, 13th and 16th at Mexico City and Coda, and 11th at Marina Bay. But before that, pretty decent string where he finished 10th at Baku, 10th in Monza, 3rd in the Dutch Grand Prix. He had a pretty good string of points finishes, 3 in a row, 2 between Imola and Catalonia. So 9th place there, 6th place there, 7th place there, 10th at Jeddah, 8th at Suzuka. I mean, we've talked about these young guys. We've talked about these racing bulls and how they just are consistently competitive, right? And for F1, competitive doesn't always mean that you're running inside of the top 6, especially if you're driving for a team that is not Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren, right? I mean, these other teams, the racing bulls of the worlds, the Williams, the Astons, like, these guys, a successful run for them is the points, or at least not being in the bottom 3 or 4 of the drivers each and every week. And Isaac Hadjar has proven his average finish this season, 11.5, his average start, 10.1. So you know he's starting well. You know he's qualifying well, right? He's making Q3 more often than not. And so that, when you're starting that close to the front, it puts you in a pretty good position to finish there in F1 especially. So all he's got to do is put together a good run this week and finish inside of the points, which obviously both Cody and I feel as if he's going to anyways. And if he does that, well, he's going to finish better than 10.5. And like Cody gave me the gift, I'm giving it to you. I'm wrapping it up. I'm re-gifting it, and I'm giving it to you. Isaac Hadjar, better than 10.5 on this race.
Wow, this is such a great pick, Rod. Great play. Good decision by you. I could not agree more with this one. I absolutely love it. So props to you for such a good pick. Obviously, I agree with everything you said there. I love this play, and it'll be making my underdog entries as well. I'm actually kind of sad about this one, Rod. I don't really want to give this one out. I feel bad giving this one out. I don't like to talk bad or say bad things about legends and great players or drivers, but Lewis Hamilton's just not been getting it done, and they've got his projection set at 6.5. If you want to go back and look at his track history, he's been great here, yes, but that's the case everywhere, right? He's been great everywhere because he's been amazing for the last long time, right? And it's not been a good first season at Ferrari. We talked about it yesterday. Hopefully they'll figure it out, get things better going forward, but it's not been good. You go back and you look, 8th place at Las Vegas last week. That's not getting it done, right? He was out. I think he was out in Q1. Yeah, he started actually dead last because so he was out in Q1 and recovered for an 8th place finish, fine, but that's not better than 6.5. Brazil, he was 10th. That's not better. Mexico City, he was 8th. We did have a 4th at Coda at the U.S. Grand Prix, so props to him there. He hit it, but prior to that, he didn't do it at Singapore with an 8th. He didn't do it at Baku with an 8th. The Italian Grand Prix is 6th, okay, but again, Dutch 20th, Belgian 7th, Hungary 12th. It's been, now prior to that, he was on a great run. Like there was a good stretch of 6th, 5th, 4th, finishes better than this, but essentially, since he went home to the British Grand Prix after that, coming back out in Hungary, he's only got 2 finishes better than 6.5 since then. And, the way I see this going, it's going to be the McLarens. It's going to be Max. That's already 3 spots, right? I think you're probably going to have the 2 Mercedes right there with it. That's 5 of the spots. Now, with his teammate Charles Leclerc has been better than he has the majority of the season. So you're figuring him in there. You're figuring a guy like Hajar, Behrman squeaks their way up there, right? There's these other and guys, right? Alonso's, the not big four, and those guys are going to be competing for that spot. I just don't know that Lewis has it in him. So, give me the worse than 6.5 on Lewis Hamilton. As much as it pains me to take it, it seems to be the right move just based on what we've seen on this kind of last third, I guess, of the season we've had so far.
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, it really is. Obviously, Lewis doing what he did was great, but at the same time, it was like, Jesus, man. Like, it took this strategy. It took all kinds of crazy stuff for it to happen, and it just didn't happen the way he wanted it to. And I don't know. I don't know what you do over the offseason to get yourself hyped again to come back and do it, but Lewis has to do something, and he knows it. We all know it. And that's, I don't feel bad saying it because that's exactly what everybody knows out there.
2026, the year of Kyle Busch and Lewis Hamilton, Rod. It's coming.
I'm right. And let's make a T-shirt that says that. Kyle Busch, Lewis Hamilton.
There you go. Yeah. Busch and Hamilton, 2026. That's a great ticket.
There's an idea there. We're getting there. All right.
Yeah.
I like it. Hey, put a pin in that. We're coming back to that one. All right. I'm going to take a worse than as well in this race, and I'm going to take Yuki Tsunoda. It's Max's teammate, I think, right? Still. He is worse than 12.5 for now. The finishing position worse than 12.5 for Yuki Tsunoda. Look, I mean, yeah, he finished 12th officially last week, but obviously that was not the case because of the 2 disqualifications. So he finished worse than this in Las Vegas when they crossed the finish line. 17th in Brazil. He had a good run where he had 4 races better than this, where he was 6th in Baku, 12th at Marina Bay, 7th at Austin, 11th at Mexico City. But his average finish this year right on that 12 mark. And honestly, with finishes of 13th or 17th at the Hungaroring, 13th at Spa, 15th at Silverstone, 16th at Spielberg, it just hasn't been the best of seasons for Yuki Tsunoda. And this track in particular, he's finished 13th twice and 15th once on this in the 3 years that he's driven on this track. So he has never finished better than 12th. Yeah, okay, I get it that it was in the Cash App Red Bull team or the Cash App RB team, right, or the AlphaTauri teams, which is obviously not the Red Bull, but still, right? I mean, it is not as if this Red Bull equipment has been blazing fast with Yuki Tsunoda in it. So if he has already not been better than 12.5 on this track, no matter what he's driving, I don't see him elevating himself. And again, we talked about this in the betting episode yesterday, Cody, where we were talking about all these young kids, the Behrmans, the Hajars, the Antonellis, right? That's already taking up 3 spots right there in what points finishes, right? And these guys also with Lando and Max and the perennial top 6 finishers, right? With Sainz in the mix sometimes, with Leclerc in the mix, and all these guys that are there, the spots fill up fast. And if you're not finishing inside of the top 12 consistently, it's hard to get there. And Yuki Tsunoda, it's been a frustrating season for him as well. And I just don't see him finishing better than 12th in this race.
Yeah, it's hard to argue here. This pick actually shows you a couple of things. Shows you how much you believe in Max Verstappen because you gave out Red Bull as the constructor, but yet you're going against Yuki here. And, there's certainly a case to be made where Yuki could have a great day. Yes, because there's been a few, far in between, but a few. But for the most part, it's been very disappointing. Last week was once again disappointing. That's just kind of what we expect from Yuki in this Red Bull car right now. And the season opened with Lawson in that car, and it wasn't any better. So, that Red Bull team seems to be lacking. Obviously, Max makes up for it by being Max a lot. But, yeah, I agree completely with this pick. It was another one I had my eye on as we were making these. So, glad you chose it. A couple of great picks by you there, Rob.
Thank you, sir. Call this emotional hedge, right? So if Yuki does poorly and, Max doesn't win and the constructor goes to hell, then at least I do have the Yuki Tsunoda one to rip my head on. So, all right. That'll do it for the DFS portion of actually, that'll do it for this whole episode. It is gone by very quickly, Cody. We have already been at this for a while, and it doesn't feel like we just started a couple of seconds ago. So, yeah. All right. Listen, everybody, enjoy Your Thanksgiving, I hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving. I know that there's a lot of folks out there that dread the day, but hey, listen, put this in. You listen to the betting episode if you didn't already. Find a way to enjoy your Thursday, and if that just means sitting and watching football all day and tuning the rest of the world out, so be it. I'll take it.
Sounds like something to be thankful for to me, Ron.
I agree. All right, well then, Cody, as we release everybody to enjoy or not enjoy, however the case may be, I don't want to tell you how to do it, their Thanksgiving. Remind everybody where they can find you outside of this.
Yeah, follow me over on the X, @Husker_Zeb. You can find all of my picks there. I do have Thanksgiving Day best bets out already. That's up. It's got picks for all 3 games, props for all 3 games. You have plenty of betting action throughout the day. Week, 13? Confidence picks are up for your confidence pick pools. I've been doing that weekly thing. All sorts of stuff, college football stuff, more NFL stuff coming out later this week. So stay tuned, check it out. And we'll see you guys again Friday with some NASCAR talk for those of you that are here for that. We're here for it too. So we'll see you then. And happy Thanksgiving, happy Turkey Day. Enjoy it, stay safe, drive safe, all the fun stuff. See you guys later on.
Gobble, gobble. Follow me on Twitter @RJVillaGomez. I've been trying to get better about posting more than just random rants about stuff. So I do things also, and I'm posting them up there on Twitter. So make sure you follow that @RJVillaGomez. Like Cody said, happy Thanksgiving to you all. Enjoy your day. We'll see you on Friday, or at least we'll talk to you on Friday. And until we see each other again, let's go racing and let it ride.